channel.
Hey, you know what time it is?
What time is it, man?
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Fast, and my co-host.
This is Jay. How's it going, guys? And we would like to remind you, if you like this content or these videos, go in the section below, like, comment, subscribe, and always share.
Yeah. And today, shout out to SR Striker for recommending this one. And yeah, it was a pretty good one, a pretty good suggestion because, not too long ago, a movie came out, the last third installment of James Gunn's trilogy, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. And, a lot of great characters we had to say goodbye to. Some characters might not come back. Some characters will come back. But one of the characters that was very fascinating in the movie was the villain itself. So we're going to start things off by, not start things off, but we're going to be talking about that character today. But I'm going to start things off by representing DC Comics, Brainiac.
The impudence. You fail to comprehend an extension of me.
Alright, so let's get into the brief origin story. Brainiac is from a planet called Holu, and he's a humanoid. And his mission, sole purpose in life, is to gather planets, collect them in snowballs or jars, and then bring them home for research. Yeah, so that's pretty much his brief origin story of Brainiac. I could tell you about how he met Superman and beat him the first time they got together, but that's a whole thing, and it's not really that interesting. But now, let's talk about the powers, abilities, and feats. Now, I would give you the whole list, but we've talked about this character before in our episode, so I'm just going to give you a previous episode where we discussed all that. Here you go.
Let's get into it. He has technopathy, telekinesis, superior super strength, invulnerability, enhanced intellect, energy projection, possession, replication, superhuman strength, superhuman durability, superhuman speed, self-sustenance, regeneration. His gear, he has a spaceship, force field belt, shrink ray, created a molecular reconstruction gun, and he has a sun missiles. Has a missile that can trigger explosions, reactions in stars. Yeah, and some of his impressive feats, he took over the mind of Supergirl. His ship overpowered Aquaman in his own element in the water. He can control metahumans, including, that's the most interesting part, Green Lantern, Booster Gold, and Deathstroke. He knocked down New Gods, defeated superhumans in their he defeated Superman in their first encounter, possessed Doomsday's body. Yeah. Okay. His intellect. Okay, so this was the most interesting feat, I thought. His intellect can process and sort through the knowledge of over 490 octocillion beings. Okay, it's a number that's more than trillions. Okay, it's a number that's 18. I think it has 18 zeros or 16 zeros in it. I mean, it's a crazy amount of numbers that he's able to have that kind of vast amount of knowledge, which means he can really, really, really learn somebody at a very fast pace during any kind of interaction, any kind of encounter.
Okay, so now let's get into the end game, shall we? End game now. So this is going to be an interesting one. The High Evolutionary has some really advanced and very powerful weapons. He's very strong. Some people don't know him that well in the comic realm because in the movie they probably thought, he's not that impressive. I mean, Rocket got it to him. But he's not nothing like in the movie. Okay? He's way more powerful, way more villainous, way more impressive than they give him credit for. That being said, Brainiac is also pretty savage himself, and he has a 12th level intellect, which is like surpassed anything we can even comprehend. So let's talk about the fact that Brainiac has a superior spaceship, space skull, something like that, a skull spaceship. I don't remember what he called it, but he has this spaceship. Now, I do believe the spaceship always is going to come in handy in a fight against someone, especially someone pretty strong like High Evolutionary. I do believe a cannon blast from that spaceship might do some damage to the guy. It will also be the extra assistant Brainiac needs in a fight during a battle with this guy. And Brainiac is strong. I'm not dismissing that. Let's give him credit where credit's due. The guy fought Superman. He's strong, okay? Super strong. He doesn't need the spaceship to throw down. He still can throw down, but the spaceship gives him that extra juice and credit where he needs it. On top of that, he has that home field advantage, obviously, if he has his spaceship around, because he can use the tentacles when he needs to. He can call them. He has like telepathic or telekinesis, I can't remember what they call it, for robotic stuff. And on top of that, he's pretty good at hacking certain things. Now, he's 12th level intellect I give him credit where credit's due. That means that he's going to be able to figure something out faster than anybody could possibly figure him out. So going against someone like the High Evolutionary, I do believe that Brainiac will find weaknesses in the armor. I do believe he will find something to counter maneuver his weaponry. I do believe that Brainiac can invent something at the moment's notice, because Brainiac has an advanced spaceship to help him with that. It can build something in advanced noise, and he's smart enough to do it because he's obviously super strong and fast enough to do it. He also has that incredible force field to give him some time if he needs time during a battle against someone like the High Evolutionary. Okay, so one of the things that is interesting if Brainiac takes its home field advantage, and obviously High Evolutionary is a cocky guy. He's not going to be afraid of going into someone else's spaceship and throwing down with them, because he obviously thinks he could either take over his weaponry or is way more superior in his weaponry. So, getting into a home field advantage is not going to make him feel threatened at all. But if Brainiac decides to take High Evolutionary to the shrink ray around there and then set him up with a shrink size little trick, he could make him small and then probably keep him that way and then put him in a jar or just squish him if he wanted to. Now, another two things I want to talk about is his telepathy and his telekinesis. Those are two strong factors, because one of them is capable of throwing Superman around, and that's not even touching him. So, yeah, strength-wise, he could probably just toss High Evolutionary around, or he could take the armor off of High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary's strongest asset is his armor suit. He himself is not just a superior superhuman being. The suit makes him a superhuman being. If he takes that suit off, he's not really going to do that much damage against a guy who is stronger, who is the same level, is matched up as Superman. Okay? Superman. You forget Superman bench pressed the Earth 5 days, and he just broke a sweat. Going against that? Hell, no. Anyways, another thing is, let's see, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, his ability to control minds. Now, you're probably thinking, unlikely. I mean, obviously, High Evolutionary came up with a solution to that. Maybe. Brainiac was able to control the mind of Doomsday. Now, you're probably thinking, that's not impressive, but Doomsday is a powerful being. Regardless if he doesn't have a brain, having the ability to control something like that, who's an animal, is saying something. So I do believe that he could, at some point, get High Evolutionary to surrender his weapons, put down his weapons, or just shoot himself in the chest. Either way, there's just so many ways where Brainiac has the upper advantage, because he still has that 12th level intellect to kind of figure a way out of the solution or the problems at any point in time. He can stall them if he needs to. He can call all his robotic extra droids to come help him for assistance, and they're pretty strong themselves. They could buy as much time as he needs to in order to figure out something, even to come up with the weapon itself, or to conjure a weapon big enough to hit High Evolutionary without him seeing coming with the skull spaceship. Either way, I do believe Brainiac has this in the bag.
Okay, as he's already mentioned, my contestant today is the High Evolutionary.
I am the High Evolutionary.
Now, the High Evolutionary, his brief bio is Dr. Herbert Edgar Wyndham.
Yeah, I believe Wyndham.
He was a brilliant scientist, or one second. Yeah, he was a scientist and a philosopher. Anyway, he had a huge obsession with trying to perfect or evolve human DNA, which is what led him to create the serum, which led him to become the High Evolutionary, and that's pretty much his brief bio. I'm just trying to make this fast,
Yeah.
Even though we've never covered High Evolutionary, but still, we call these brief bios.
Yeah.
Anyway, his abilities and feats are, he has mass intelligence, psionic powers, And his sentient armor grants him super strength, durability, flight, regeneration, manipulation of matter, and energy size shifting. His feats are, he's been pretty much destroyed by the Hulk and was able to regenerate, I think, from, it was either a single drop of blood or a single cell. Another time he was hammered by Thor. He's fought Apocalypse, and he could possibly lift 100 tons. Now, the way I see this breaking down is, I want to say he's gonna have to try to get Brainiac away from his ship so that he can't call it for help, and possibly just try to use his armor and matter manipulation to pretty much corrupt Brainiac's setup, his armor.
Yeah. Oh, I got you.
So just kind of try to disorient him and use his strength and speed to, really just throw hands with him for a little while until he can, hatch a plan to either take over Brainiac systems, which be either himself and make himself destruct, or I want to say he'll do it as a distraction so he can take over his ship and either leave the area or use the ship against Brainiac and just use it to shoot at him. It's going to be difficult considering how smart Brainiac is and his abilities and, the things that he uses. But either that, or I want to say it'll give High Evolutionary enough time to possibly gather the parasite or it's some kind of parasite. There's one weakness that Brainiac has, but it's like, it's something it's hard to find. It's like a parasite or like some type of disease, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like two different types of weaknesses that I've shown. Is that there's a special type of parasite that weakens Brainiac, and then there's the environment. Apparently, his immune system is very sensitive to certain environments that he can't adapt to it.
Yeah, so that's why he stays in his ship most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, depending on where he is, he can handle certain environments. But if High Evolutionary theoretically figures out, since he has a superior technology, that he has an immune deficiency issue, I mean, what's stopping him from taking somewhere?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like I said, get him out of the ship, and now we know, take him to a different environment. Just keep him there long enough, Brainiac will eventually shut down. And if he gets hit long enough with High Evolutionary speed and strength, it's not going to end well for him, especially being that the High Evolutionary can alter his size. So if he gets big enough, he can either kick Brainiac around, or he can just grab the ship and just smash the ship into him. Either way, that's how I see this playing out. He's going to have to use his superior intellect, and, well, we wouldn't even know if he's superiorly smart, because Brainiac is pretty smart. He's going to have to use his intelligence and technology to keep Brainiac away from his ship, keep him in an environment that he doesn't like, and he's either going to have to use his own systems against him to corrupt his brain, or he's going to have to use the ship. Either way, that's how I see this playing out.
All right, guys. And as always, it's not up to me. It's not up to my boy here. It's up to you guys. So, if you guys liked my argument, you know what you can do? You can hashtag Brainiac. And if you like my boy's argument, what do you do, brother?
High Evolutionary.
All right, and as always, No Press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.